Incredible, such an accomplished piece for such a young composer. Riley Cahill's The Lightning in Me, in a committed performance, I'm sure you'll agree, by Une année sans lumière, all from the Westlake schools. Riley, would you like to come back on the stage, please? Congratulations, that's incredible. I'm thrilled to introduce adjudicator and senior lecturer in composition and music studies at the School of Music at Auckland University, Leonie Holmes. Would you like to say something?
I would just like to say very well done.
Lovely. Thank you, Leonie. Yeah. The winner of the 2015 Junior Composition Award is Benjamin Sneed-Utting. Benjamin, would you like to come to the stage? Congratulations. Well done, Benjamin. Thank you, Leonie. Thank you. Congratulations to both Riley and Benjamin. It was wonderful to hear Riley's piece. I would have loved to hear Benjamin's as well. Leonie described it as a very dramatic and rhythmically sophisticated piece. It's called Neptune's Horses. I'm kind of intrigued to find what this is. Have you spotted this behind the piano? We're going to have a big set change now. So I'll take the opportunity to let you know that in 2 weeks' time, on Saturday, the 15th of August, in the same venue, in the Michael Fowler Centre, you'll be able to come along and hear the finals of the Big Sing. The Big Sing was originally, when it started, it actually began as part of this chamber music contest because there's such a strong tradition of vocal studies in New Zealand. But the competition got completely out of control and out of hand. And so the best possible thing happened. It took its own course and is now a competition of its own. So if you'd like to turn up in 2 weeks' time, on the Saturday night, you'll be able to hear all those wonderful young choirs. And also, it's going to be online, so if you can't make it to Wellington or can't make it to the venue, then feel free to go to one of our websites and view it and listen to it there. Now, after rehearsals today, one of the ensembles who's just played actually began a little bit of yodeling. That was an invitation. No, they're not around at the moment, but a very, very lovely sound it was too. So these young musicians who also play stringed instruments and all the rest, the winds and piano, are actually coming back to perform with their colleagues and fellow pupils in the Big Sing in a fortnight's time. Now, this is a really big stage reset, as I say. So whilst it's going on, I would like you to admire our wonderful assistants today who are it's like they've been choreographed. They're immaculate and very, very discreet in what they do. So I would like to say that Arthur and Rachel and their team, thank you very, very much for all the work that you've put into this. And then I'd like to say thank you to Pete for resetting the microphones and the banners. Thank you, Pete. Wow, wonderful performance and a really powerful, moving work. To award the prize for the national winner of the best performance of a New Zealand work, please welcome to the stage Chair of the Board of Sounds, the Centre for New Zealand Music and General Music Guru, Elizabeth Kerr. Who would like to go and collect the certificate and prize? Whoever's closest. Congratulations. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Cantus Bellorum. As I say, I thought that was such a committed performance. And thank you, Anthony, for such a powerful work. Also, thank you, Maddie Ballard, and an ancient Persian poet. Beautiful. I should say to you that Cantus Bellorum, or that octet, I don't think they were called that last year, but they also actually won the New Zealand Performance Award last year as well. They were really creating a niche for themselves. Okay, it's that time. It's the people's choice. So feel free to turn your cell phones on. And here's the number, although it's also on this piece of paper that you'll have. So the number is 029 770 2140, and then down here you'll find a code for each ensemble, and if you text that code to the number, you will have voted. And if you're viewing online, wherever you are, I was going to say at home, but you might be anywhere, then the numbers should be on your screen now. Oh, lovely sound of cell phones. You've got 5 minutes, so I'll leave you to that, and then at that point we will welcome back to the stage, the panel of judges and the dignitaries. In the meantime, if all the performers from yesterday and today could all come and sit in these seats over here with good access for the stage, that would be fabulous. Thank you. Pardon? Yeah. 029 770 2140. Good job, guys. Failed. That's your phone, Adam. Really? Technical help? Technological help needed? Numbers aren't going through. That'll be it. Yeah, please hold caller. That's just for you, Adam. Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, I hope you've got your votes in. And if not, you can just do lots of cheering at the end. Hey, Adam. And so if you would join me in welcoming on stage, please, CEO of Chamber Music New Zealand, Peter Walls. It was a pantomime moment. Thanks, darling. There you go. Thank you.
Kia ora. Kate, don't go away quite yet. I'd just like to thank Kate for being the MC at this contest final. She's done it for a number of years, and as you've seen, she does this in a wonderful way with just so much wit and grace. And Kate, we would like to thank you most sincerely for that.
Thank you. Thank you. That's so lovely.
So we are going to get Kate back in a minute to talk about the People's Choice, and those texts were still coming through as I was standing in the wings, so if the number didn't seem to be working, don't worry too much. They were apparently getting through. I'd also just like to acknowledge Kate's colleagues at Radio New Zealand Concert, who do such a fantastic job for music in New Zealand. Thanks to their presence here this afternoon, we'll be able to listen back and marvel again at the standard achieved by this year's NZCT Chamber Music Contest finalists. And I'd like to congratulate those finalists and thank them for not just an afternoon, but with the semi-finalists to a weekend of sheer pleasure. Just incredible sophistication from such young musicians. I'd now like to welcome onto the stage some very special guests. First, though, beginning with the Chair of Chamber Music New Zealand Trust Board, Roger King. And next, the Honourable Christopher Finlayson, who is here today representing the Minister for Culture, the Arts, Culture and Heritage. Chris, of course, is a great champion for music generally and for music education in Aotearoa, was such during his years as Minister for the Arts, Culture and Heritage, but beyond that, he is a generous and long-standing supporter of Chamber Music New Zealand. It's great to have you here, Chris. Her Worship the Mayor, Celia Wade-Brown. Sir James Wallace, who's one of the great art patrons in New Zealand and a wonderful friend to Chamber Music New Zealand. Sir James is the core patron of our 50th Jubilee Appeal, and thanks to his generosity, the winning group will receive the Wallace Arts Trust Award. Some of you will have seen the article in the Dom Post the other day in which Sir James was encouraging those with the means to do so to support the arts, and we thank you for that as well, Sir James. Very good message to be going out. Andrew Chamberlain is the General Manager of KBB Music, who support the Chamber Music New Zealand. So apart from the funding that they've put into the contest, just imagine where we'd be today if Andrew hadn't been able to find a replacement saxophone for Paprika. Elizabeth Kerr, the Chair of Sounds, the Centre for New Zealand Music, and of course we work very closely with Sounds. Jill Davenport is the sister of former Chamber Music New Zealand Chair Joan Kerr. Joan made an enormous contribution to chamber music in Aotearoa, and we're delighted that her family can support an award in her honour. June Clifford is also a former chair of the Trust and has been for many years the driving force behind a lot in Napier. Dr. Paul Blaschke is the son of Mari van der Vaart, a wonderful cellist whose memory is honoured in one of our awards this afternoon. Paul, by the way, is an excellent bassoonist. He describes himself as an ex-bassoonist, but I think it meant short for excellent. Leonie Holmes, as you heard from Kate, one of our leading composers and chair of CANZ, the Composers Association of New Zealand. And at this point, I'd like to invite Roger King, the chair of the Chamber Music New Zealand Trust Board, to say a few words.
Thanks, Peter. It's both a pleasure and a great privilege to welcome you here this afternoon, distinguished guests, friends and family, musicians young and old. The final of the contest like this is always a very special occasion in Chamber Music New Zealand's year, but this year, of course, is that much more special as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of its founding, not just because it's a half a century old, but because of what we've heard this afternoon and how exciting it was. I'd like to congratulate all the young musicians on their inspiring performances. What we've heard and seen is the culmination of a kind of music festival that's been going on for several months, stretching into every corner of the country. This year there were district rounds in 15 centres, stretching from Whangarei in the north to Invercargill in the south. Each of these centres functions as a hub for students zoning in from the surrounding areas. I'm told we had students from Motueka, Geraldine, Methven and Te Puhi, quite apart from those from our large cities. In 1965, there were just 250 students engaged, and that's grown enormously. This year, we celebrated close to 2,000 secondary school students in 500 ensembles. Many received coaching through the Chamber Music New Zealand's partnership with the Royal Schools of Music, and each of these groups has been supported by family. Let's always remember that the support of mums, dads, brothers and sisters provides a space for students to learn and rehearse. And then let us never forget the teachers. Our district contest organisers and a small army of volunteers have helped make all this happen, and I'd like to thank them all. All of the ensembles will have had the satisfaction and the thrill of making music at a level that may have seemed a pipe dream not so long ago. The groups that made it through to the regional finals and now the national semis and the finals should feel hugely proud of what they've achieved. A contest like this does not exist without generous support. The significant funding that we receive from Creative New Zealand sustains Chamber Music New Zealand's concert activity, 100 concerts every year in about 25 centres altogether. This contest depends on the generosity of our friends. Firstly, all of those who have contributed to our Jubilee Appeal, and it's never too late, so do check out the website. We're also hugely reliant on those sponsors that Peter mentioned a moment ago, but the core funder, the organisation that really does make all this possible, is the New Zealand Community Trust, or NZCT. This has been the enabler of the Chamber Music Contest since 2005, 11 years in which we have seen the contest grow from strength to strength. I and we want to congratulate them on making such an enlightened contribution to the development of quality music in this country, and to thank them most sincerely for their support. On behalf of the Chamber Music New Zealand trustees, I hope that with NZCT's help, we will continue to see the contest flourish and develop for many more years to come. And now, with much pleasure, I ask Chris Finlayson to say a few words.
Well, I know you always expect politicians to say it's a great pleasure to be here, but I can say it not as a politician, but as a subscriber to Chamber Music New Zealand. I love coming to this competition, and I intend to come long after I've ceased to be a Member of Parliament or a Minister, because it's well worth it, as you well know from this afternoon. Can I just make a few acknowledgements? The first person I want to acknowledge, and I've seen her do this role on a number of occasions is Kate. Hers was an outstanding performance this afternoon. She instructs us, but she instructs us very gently, and it's always a very good introduction to the actual performance. So Kate, on behalf of all of us, thank you very much for your usual superlative performance. I also want to acknowledge the teachers who inspire, the teachers who give up so many hours to make sure that the performances here are excellent. And I was just thinking of a great teacher, Sister Winifred from St Mary's College, who died a few days ago, aged 101. She was an example of the sort of teacher who, generation in and generation out, spent so many hours bringing her students to an excellent standard. So thank you, teachers, for what you do. You are irreplaceable. I also want to acknowledge the parents. The contestants know how good they are, but they're here because of the love and devotion of their parents. They're the ones who get you to the lessons. They're the ones who support you when things are tough. They're wonderful, wonderful people, and you should go home from this competition and thank them very much for all that they've done for you. And finally, I say this to the Mayor of Wellington: it won't have escaped you, because it hasn't escaped me as a lifelong Wellingtonian, that Westlake, Rangiruru, Dio, there are a lot of schools from Auckland and Christchurch here. I congratulate those from Queen Margaret's and from Wellington East, but I really think we need to do something to make sure that Wellington, I put the blame on you actually, we need to do something to ensure that more Wellington schools are represented in the final, and I saw Elizabeth and Craig Sneed-Utting down there, and I hope that in the not too distant future the people from Brandon Intermediate and Porirua College, it'll be your time in a few years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. The Mari Vandervaart Award recognises outstanding service and commitments to fostering the love of chamber music in New Zealand. Ingrid Culliford has done exactly that. Ingrid had a distinguished career in Europe as a flute player. First of all, of course, she was a student here in New Zealand, in Wellington, in fact, learning piano from Judith Clark, and I don't know who she learned the flute from. But so she went on and had a very distinguished career as a flute player, performing mostly in London with the major orchestras there. She was particularly associated with the contemporary music ensemble, Lontano. After she returned to New Zealand in the 1990s, she threw herself into teaching, including at Victoria and Waikato universities, while continuing to perform at the highest level. She has mentored, coached, and adjudicated for the contest. So it's very, very fitting that she receive the Mari Vandervaart Award, and this will be presented by Dr. Paul Blaschke, Mari's son. A June Clifford Silver Award is received by each of the groups who made it through to the semi-finals. And so I'm going to ask June herself to present these. So if they're here, can we have the Liestal trio on stage, please? Here they come, followed by Alchemy. and Alchemy, Ritmico, and Ritmico, please. And the Sanson Trio from Wellington. I should just underline for the Minister's sake that the Sanson Trio were also from Wellington. And for the Mayor's sake, the Leashdale Trio and Alchemy are from Auckland, Ritmico is from Christchurch, and now we have another Auckland group, the Medanso Trio, please. And finally, 4 lovely violinists from Whangarei, Brioso 4. And now the Joan Kerr Gold Awards are presented to each of the groups reaching the national finals this afternoon, and these will be presented by Joan's sister, Jill Davenport. So I'll ask the groups to come up onto the stage in the order that we heard them this afternoon, beginning with the Vazan Trio from Auckland, please. And now Cube from Auckland. And the Amici Quartet, that is from both Auckland and Christchurch. And Trio Glivenko from Wellington. Paprika from Christchurch. And finally, Jeunesse Élégante from Christchurch. So now I'm going to ask Kate back to the microphone to tell us about the People's Choice.
Do we do this one first?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good voting, everyone. Crikey Mo, it was going mad out there. Oh, you guys were all so fantastic. I have to tell you that it's very exciting because the People's Choice this year has gone to the newbies from Christchurch, Paprika. Well done, guys. Fantastic. Oh, you're so welcome. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Paprika, and don't break any more springs. So now the moment we've all been waiting for, I'd like to ask the members of the jury to come to the stage. And the key thing, as Kate mentioned about this year's jury, is that they were all once upon a time competitors in this contest. Now, in your brochures, it says that Michael Houston is a member of the jury. Unfortunately, Michael has succumbed to one of those winter bugs, so he was not able to be with us today. But I'd like to first of all welcome Ewan Murdoch, who is the chair of the jury panel. And we've got a lot to thank Ewan for. So Ewan, of course, was planning this afternoon's event while he was still in the role of chief executive, and he and his wife Shelley are our supporters for our Jubilee Fund, which we're very grateful for. And Ewan does a lot for music in New Zealand altogether. Ray Delisle, Associate Professor and Head of Piano at Auckland University. Donald Armstrong, the Associate Concertmaster of the NZSO, and as you see from your program books, Donald was a one-time award-winning composer in the contest. Kenneth Young, a tuba player when he entered the contest, but these days much better known as one of New Zealand's most eminent conductors. And finally, Bridget Douglas, who's principal flute in the NZSO, who has So Bridget has actually been performing as a soloist for Chamber Music New Zealand this year with the Tarnowski Jubilee Ensemble. And I'm going to ask Bridget to come to the microphone and tell us all about it. Thank you.
Firstly, I'd just like to say a very, very big thank you to all the performers today and yesterday. It has been an honour and a pleasure to hear such young musicians playing with such sophisticated technique and musical maturity that is way beyond their years. And it's very exciting to think about what these young musicians will be doing in New Zealand and overseas in years to come. Thank you to you all. As Peter mentioned, we adjudicators represent every decade of this very important competition, and it's a particular honour. It's a particular honour to be adjudicating this year for the 50th Jubilee celebrations. Ray Delisle was a member of a finalist group in the very first competition 50 years ago, although you wouldn't know it to look at her, would you? But for all of us, even though we've gone on to become very different types of musicians, conductor, composer, concertmaster, head of piano at Auckland University, orchestra player, it's the competition was an incredibly formative experience for all of us. Ray said, she told me just before, that her playing the Mendelssohn Trio in the final of this competition 50 years ago is what got her hooked on music and on chamber music. And I think all of us, and I'm sure many of you in the audience as well, will have participated in the competition, know exactly what we're talking about. This competition has really helped form us as musicians and been an incredibly important part of our development. So thank you, Chamber Music New Zealand, for providing that opportunity for all the young musicians in New Zealand. And now, what were we looking for? What were we looking for tonight in the winning ensemble? I mentioned yesterday that we were taking it as a given, really, and you could hear that tonight, that all of these musicians knew their parts, they could play their instruments really well, the ensemble was excellent. So we were looking for something extra, something that wasn't on the page. In fact, we wanted the notes to fly off the page and come alive for us in the audience. We wanted to know and feel that the performers on stage had an absolute emotional intensity and were inside that music, and they really had to sell it to us and bring it alive. So for us, that was probably the most important aspect of picking the winner, and finding a group that had musical maturity and depth that just stood out for us. It was a very, very difficult decision to make, and it did take some deliberating and consideration. Anyway, before I go on to the winning group, I have to announce the winner of the National KBB Music Award. And we would like to award that prize to Cube from Auckland. And KBB very generously gives this prize every year to the outstanding chamber music group with either wind, brass or percussion players. And I'm sure you'll agree we had some very outstanding wind players there tonight, as well as a... And now the moment you've all been waiting for. The Arthur Hilton Platinum Award and the Wallace Arts Trust Prize for the overall winning group goes to Trio Gluvenko from Wellington.
Can I ask Sir James Wallace to present this award, please? So Sir James Wallace will present the award. congratulations. And look, thank you all very much for coming. We'll hope to see you at the next contest final in Auckland. Thank you.